بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hayakumullah to everyone that is tuning in or will be tuning in, walillahil hamd. And today I have a influential Muslim activist. Is that the best way to describe you, Tay, or am I over exaggerating it?
I can't say I'm that influential, but I'm an activist in my own. I try my hardest.
Allah very big. Sister Tay, and again, she will obviously introduce herself, but from what I've read and I've obviously followed up, is that she is influential in the fostering sector, taking care of Muslim children and doing, a major, giving a major sort of revamp in terms of getting that support for them. So may Allah reward Sister Tay. And just as a disclaimer, me and Sister Tay have had conversations, right, about our respective positions. So we have obviously polar opposite, opinions at certain, in certain things and agree on certain things. So just to add, Sister Tay and I obviously have had deep conversations, and she's fully aware of my stances and I'm fully aware of her stances. So it's mutual. We have to enjoy the good and forbid the evil and come together in good and refrain what is bad. So that's a disclaimer, Sister Tay. We don't need to go into the intricacies, right, sister? But we had conversations and we have opened that up. So first of all, Sister Tay, I'd like to sort of give you the floor to introduce yourself to the brothers and sisters that are viewing before we get into the crux of the matter, which is very, very important. So I'll hand the keys to you and give us a brief introduction, bi'idhnillah.
Okay, assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Tay, or Tay Jiva if you prefer. I am a social worker, I am a director, sole director and registered manager of Sparks Fostering. I've been in social care over 25 years. I'm co-editor of Islamic Guidance on Fostering and Adoption with the British Board of Scholars and Imams. I have an MBE for recruiting Muslim foster carers and adopters. So like brother said, yes, I am an expert in fostering. Sorry, battery's going low. This is just typical, isn't it?
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, ironic. It's typical. I should have known this, but it's fine. The charger's just here. So yeah, in terms of fostering, absolutely, it is what it is. I'd say in terms of Muslim fostering in particular, probably, I think, as far as I know, I've done more work than any other qualified social worker in the country. When it comes to charity work, which is what we're discussing today, I have worked in the Muslim charity sector for a couple of years, as a member of staff, as a manager for a Muslim charity. And then, of course, I've tried to engage Muslim charities with the other work that I've done. I will not claim to be an expert in the Muslim charity sector. I'm not an expert in governance. I'm not an expert. I've not been in the inner core with the core people of Muslim charities. I would say that, like yourself, I'm mindful of lots of concerns that the community have. So I have spoken out on certain things, such as safeguarding in Muslim organizations and charities and financial position, transparency. But I've done that as just a concerned member of the community who is outspoken. And like you said, we do have differences in terms of our positions on many things in life, but ultimately we take from each other what is good. And on this particular issue where we both believe that there should be transparency in the Muslim charity sector, we agree on that. And I think both of us are also mindful that when we speak up, we're speaking up against multi-million pound organizations when we say, actually, we're a bit concerned about how you operate. So, in our conversation today, we are just agreeing on that one thing, which is the good thing we are enjoying. That's the thing that we are agreeing on today.
Yeah. No, most definitely. And I think that's where people obviously would have certain positions that we disagree on. But this particular issue, I believe, is one of the most important issues facing the Muslims in the West right about now, as to what is happening with our money, especially with causes that we firmly, put in the bottom of our chest, especially with the situation in Gaza and elsewhere. It's not just Gaza, but Gaza at the moment in time is obviously facing a genocide. So naturally, everyone is talking about that. I noticed about 2-3 months ago, some brothers in certain WhatsApp groups were sharing your document, right? And I wanted to obviously get to your reasons as to why you wrote up this particular document. What was the main concern you had? So before I get to that, I'll share it on stage. So this is what Sister J created, or obviously researched, in terms of comparing UK Muslim charities in March 2025. So it wasn't too long ago. So
well, this was the newest, there's been a new edition. So I've been doing it for about 2 years. So this one is the most recent one that I did, because I add charities to it every so often.
Okay, so this is the document. And as far as this particular document, what spurred you to, research and fact find?
Honestly, I think particularly in Ramzans, I don't know if it's because of the mindset, or you open up your mind and become more spiritual towards Ramzan. But I find that my mind sort of clears more from my mainstream work, and then I do get more involved. And the way I see it is, Allah guides me and inspires me to particular pieces of work. So this isn't the only piece of work that I've done. Previously, I've done other bits of work and things I've looked into. And it was literally just a couple of years ago. It was just something that I just felt compelled to do. That it's simple, right? Go onto the Charity Commission website, see the data about charities on there, which is a really simple, easy thing to do. But who does that? Mm-hmm. And then also do a quick search engine search about Muslim charities to see what news. And I already know from working in the Muslim charity sector, I already knew some of the things about some of the charities. And I have conversations with other people quite regularly about, why are people still donating to these particular charities who get mentioned again and again and again, whose figures are atrocious? Do people not know when they're donating money that, look, it's really easy to find this very concerning information? So then I just, it was just a small thing. Let's just put some figures together. It must have taken me a few hours, 3 or 4 hours, to put something together, push it out. And it's one of those things where you think it might be 3 people that look at it, 4 people that look at it, and it's fine. It took me a few hours to do. And when I did do the document, I did think to myself, and people did say to me that, listen, you run a fostering agency. Do you really want to expose yourself like this? Mm-hmm. And I'm very much like, but I haven't done anything wrong, have I? I've literally just taken information from Charity Commission and from search engines. I've not put in there, in my opinion, donate to this person. If anyone says to me, who should I donate to? I'm like, I don't know. I can't, I'm not endorsing anyone or not. I'm just sharing information. So I haven't done anything wrong. So why would I need to worry about my fostering agency? And actually, I did think charities would come at me quite quickly. And yeah, it took a while before people really started speaking up. Let's say that. And I think that's because it got traction. Like you said, I think as more people saw it, they were like, actually, this is really helpful. And I put more charities on there, and it got spread far and wide. And then a few people got upset.
And okay, we'll touch on that later as to who got upset and who wasn't, who took a umbrage to your document. But you said in passing that you worked for a Muslim charity. How was that experience? Because ultimately, I've had conversations with charities privately regarding my concerns, and I've actually spoken to trustees, and I haven't had much, fruitful conversations. They're not very open, not very transparent. That's the concern. 2 years since the Gaza genocide, millions, if not tens of millions, have been raised. I understand that it's not easy. There's a blockade. No fault of the charities, but at least be transparent enough to at least confirm, okay, look, this is the situation on the ground. Your money is being received. We are doing what we can, but we're not really getting that. So when you worked for a certain Muslim charity, how long ago was it, and how involved were you?
So I joined the Muslim charity sector in 2017. I was in mainstream social work before then. I'd experienced discrimination, religious and racial discrimination in the social work sector before I joined the Muslim charity sector. When I joined the Muslim charity sector, I was incredibly naive. I think I am quite a naive person, in truth. Even as a social worker after 25 years, I still find myself thinking, oh my gosh, can't believe they did that. And then reminding myself, you've been through this before. So I went into the Muslim charity sector thinking these are Muslims, right? So, like we said at the beginning, whatever our differences are, our core values must be somewhat like in terms of the ethics of using charitable money responsibly. Surely we all agree on that, right? And you can't run a multi-million-pound organization with this many staff and be unscrupulous. Surely not, right? So I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm not going to name that charity because in that time, like I said, I've worked with other charities as well. And I wasn't part of the core management team either. So I can't say, as somebody who saw the books and saw the figures and saw the proof, I'm not that deep. I was never that deep in the Muslim charity sector. But I would say that from the organizations, not just that one, but other Muslim charities I'd worked with as well, it was just not a good experience. It was very much, how do I put this? Big boys with lots of money and big egos who think they're really clever. And you know, when you say you try to talk to somebody, I'm like, why would they care? Because if they're getting tens of millions of pounds in donation, why do they care what you think? Right? Why would they care about this podcast? They shouldn't. You know, if anyone's watching this, because you and I have had that discussion, let's hope we don't get sued. But why would they even care? Because at the end of this, we will say we have concerns about this, this, this. Is anybody going to disagree with us about transparency? No. But are they still going to donate to the same charities? Yes. Is it going to make a difference? No. But it's important that we do what we can and we try in our own way to do good work. You never know. Maybe something will change. I'm not very optimistic, but those charities don't care what I think and they don't care what you think.
And just to add on what you mentioned, this particular podcast is not, requesting sudden change. It just needs acknowledgement of the issues that many, and I'm saying this with full conviction, since the Gaza genocide up until now, many questions have been asked from different spectrums. As we mentioned before, we differ on many things, but our core values when it comes to the Ummah's money being spent responsibly, there's no deception, there's no deceit, and those who are entitled to that money, the money reaches them. The underspend, and we'll get to that later. If we see that on the Charity Commission's website, I don't think it should be an issue for me, you, or anyone to say, oh, hold on, could you just explain why there's an underspend here? Just so we understand, because there's this much millions been raised. And even then, and I say this with full conviction as well, the Sharia or the Sharia requirements of transparency is different to the Charity Commission's transparency, right? As Muslims, when we look at Islamic law. So as representatives of our money, we have more of a right from an Islamic perspective to ask for more documentation. Do you see? So the common law or whatever, legal compliance policy that the UK government has, that's separate to us. For me, you, and anyone else, we're concerned, right? And I'm not saying that they're not spending. Let's just sort of add another disclaimer. Me and Tay, your sister Tay, I'm not saying they're not spending, but the question here is, what is happening with the money that is underspent, and what are your projects and what are your future the strategy for the future? Now, getting back to the document now, sister Tay, you released this document in May 2025, and it was a brilliant document. It compared the charities. You took the figures from where? The Charity Commission, right? As I even compared it. So it wasn't as if you were interjecting anything from your own opinion or hearsay. It was directly from where?
Charity Commission.
Charity Commission. So subsequently, once you released that documentation, what happened? Was it received well, or did you get some backlash and some, concerns from charities? How do we want to word that? Because as I we've been very careful. I don't want to upset anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm no expert in the charity sector, right? So I looked at the Charity Commission website and I looked at their data and I thought, well, this seems fairly self-explanatory. This is what their income is. This is what the expenditure is. This is how much of the expenditure is on charitable activities. These are the words being used on the Charity Commission website, by the way. This is how much was retained for future use, which I took, just for brevity, just to keep it short, I said underspend, right, instead of retained for future use.
Okay.
So a few organizations had been in touch and sort of said, oh, when you say underspend, it looks bad because we're holding on to that money for other projects. Like if we're building a children's home, or if we're building an orphanage, or we're building a food, whatever, then we can't, we need to hold on to that money because we've got a project planned. And I said, okay, that's fine. I have included that information in on one of the front pages. So, but for other people, it was like, well, who's actually going to read that front page? So there was a bit of to be fair, a few people got in touch. I have to say, I have to give credit to, I think he's the fundraising lead for Islamic Relief, that he contacted me directly. And the way he contacted me was so respectful and like, I understand what you're trying to do, good piece of work. I just want to make sure you understand the Charity Commission data, and are you aware of this and that? And he was like, let me clarify this for you, but also if there's anything I can do to help you in the good work you're trying to do, which just for me made me think, I respect that. That's great. There was somebody else who contacted me and said, you shouldn't be doing this piece of work. It should be done by this charity. And he named a different charity. He said they're the ones that are already doing this. Other people are already doing this work. Why are you doing this work? And I said, who's doing this work? I don't know anyone doing this work. But if they are, great, show me. So there was a bit of that. And then recently, I was contacted by Human Appeals legal team to say our data that you've put on there is incorrect. Change it. And to be honest, alhamdulillah, with Sparks Fostering, things are getting busy because I've been doing I've been doing some social media stuff to explain to Muslim communities how much we need Muslim foster carers. So I got a sudden influx of Muslim foster carers. So I've been really busy with that. And then I got this very formal letter from some solicitors in New York from Human Appeal. And I'm like, I haven't got the time or energy for this, actually. Wow. So we agreed.
Can I just stop this? I understood it correctly. So you received a notice from Human Appeals legal representatives in New York?
I believe that's what it said in the beginning. The ones that contacted me afterwards, because there was like 3 or 4 different people, I think. The ones who contacted me later, I think they're UK based. Initially, I'm sure it said New York, but forgive me if I'm wrong, Human Appeal. Not that it makes a difference. Ultimately, I just saw my initial contact. Like I said, other charities had contacted. There was one charity who said, could you clarify this for me? And I said, listen, what I'll do is I'll say that this person from that charity has asked me to clarify this. And I put that statement with their entry on the charity comparison. Because I'm like, fine, if you want to have a say. But I have to say that you're the ones that wanted me to put that data in. I'm not going to change the data that's from the Charity Commission website. So there was a little bit of that. I wasn't expecting, I'm quite surprised, to be honest, because I never had any previous interactions or issues with Human Appeal. But I suppose for them, it was just like, do you know what? Let's squash it, get it done, make it clear, sort it out, tell her to change it. I'm not even saying that the data they gave me is incorrect. I couldn't possibly say that because that will have me in court. But what I'm saying is that, it would have been nice. And this is what I mean about my naivety, I suppose. Do you know what? Like, I'm a bit like, we're all Muslims. We're all trying to do the right thing. Are we? So can we, is it not that obvious that I'm trying to do a good thing for Muslims? And even if I've done it wrong, right? I hold my hands up and say, actually, I think there's typos in that document. Is me on my own pulling this data across. If somebody says to me, Tay, you copied that number across wrong, I'll be like, yeah, it happens. May Allah forgive me. Can you forgive me? I'll correct it, right? So I'm not saying that the information I put on there is correct and they're wrong or whatever. I'm not even saying, I'm not an expert in governance. Maybe I misunderstood the Charity Commission information and they've corrected it, whatever. But it's just, when you get contacted by a legal team and you're like, do you know what? Yeah, no, it's a bit much now. I'm a bit exposed now, aren't I? So,
do you mind? And I'll seek your permission. Do you mind if I share the document that sorry, let's rephrase that. Do you give me permission to share what they asked you to amend? So
they asked me to publicly release a statement. Well, I offered the statement because there were several emails between us. And I'm like, look, I just won't do the document again. And they said, no, that's not good enough. We need you to release a statement to correct what you said. I'm like, okay, fine. Listen, I'll put this statement out. Is that okay? They said, yes, that's fine. Put that statement out. So I put this correction notice. This was agreed between us.
Okay.
Right. I offered it to them. If I put this out, will you leave me alone now? I'm supposed to actually put it on my WhatsApp, I think, and on somewhere else as well, website.
So can I ask you a question, Sister Tay? Were they using using threatening language? Did you feel that it was threatening language?
They were very professional legally.
Okay.
I can't say they were threatening because they never at any point said, we will take you to court if. I actually don't think they had grounds, but that's just my opinion. I don't know. But it wasn't a hi Tay, how are you? Hope you're well, trying to get this good work done. Please, could you do this? It was our client has instructed us to advise you XYZ. Dear madam, our client has instructed, but I'm not allowed to say because it's all privileged information. They made that very clear as well. I'm not allowed to say what the company is. I'm not allowed to say what was said in our discussions with each other. They've allowed me to, we've agreed that I'll publish this statement, which does say it's their legal team that told me to share this information. So I can say I was contacted by the legal team, but I cannot divulge any information within the communication.
So let me read out what they requested you, or if not, request is a very light word. What they wanted you to divulge. So it says here, the following statement has been provided by Human Appeal in May 2025 to correct information previously included about the organization in a document titled Charity Comparisons, which we shared at the start. The original version of the document has been removed. This updated information is being shared in the same forum in which the original was circulated. So this is Human Appeal, what they do. And then it mentions, obviously, the income. The Human Appeal's annual reporting with the Charity Commission is fully up to date and verified by the green tick status given to Human Appeal on the Charity Commission's official website. Now, the income they wanted you to share. Okay, so this is what we want to highlight and underline. So they requested you to share that the data for financial year ending the 31st of December 2023 was 56,217,796, right? That's what they asked you to share. So it's not a typo. This is exactly what they asked you to share.
I copy-pasted the statement that we agreed. Yeah.
So I want to be fair and do justice. That it could be potentially a typo, but if you're saying you've copied and pasted it, then it's from them, right? You didn't amend any, you didn't type it yourself. Underspend 0. So the underspend is 0, or retained for future use is 0.
No, I think they would disagree on the terminology there. I don't think they would say, right. So I don't think they can deny that they have put aside money for future use, but they don't consider that to be an underspend, because if they have put that in a pot because there is a project coming up next year, as far as they're concerned, that's not an underspend. So it's the terminology of it. Okay, so they wouldn't say it's an underspend.
Semantics.
Yes.
Okay. And direct spend on charity, 83%. Number of employees over 60K is 5. Okay, so this is the correction. This is the original figures without any interpolation, without any issues. This is the original information from the legal
team of Human Appeal.
Human Appeal. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to do, I just want to make sure, and again, I just want everyone to understand that I'm sharing this, which is public information from the Charity Commission's website. Okay. That's first and foremost. So get that disclaimer out there. I haven't fudged anything. It's not AI generated. It's from the Charity Commission. And anyone wants to go and ratify that source, please do. Again, don't take my word for it. So let's now share this information here. Okay. So this is the charity expenditure from the Charity Commission's website, which they shared with the Charity Commission. Am I right, Sister Tay, or am I wrong?
As far as I understand. And when I've had interactions with other charities who have said to me, Tay, you've put this, but these are the correct figures. And I've said, but your Charity Commission page says this. So you take it up with Charity Commission. And they've all said, fair enough, actually. we're going to have to take it up with whoever, our accountant or whoever submitted our data to Charity Commission.
Okay, perfect. So this is direct from the Charity Commission's website, which we have taken the screenshot from. And I took the screenshot yesterday. So which was what's the date today? So I don't want to get, I want to be correct with my dates. 24th of July. I took this screenshot. So retain for future use or underspend, semantics, however you want to address it, cloak it, it's up to you. 7.14 million was retained. Okay. That's what it says in the Charity Commission's website. On the other side, you've got expenditure, which is 49,081,504. It's a big difference from what they asked you to share and what has been declared on the Charity Commission's website. Am I correct in saying that, Sister Tay?
There are differences there, but I'm going to have to take the position of saying I don't understand the data. But yes, there are discrepancies, which is, for legal reasons, I will have to say, is due to my lack of understanding of the data.
No, understandable. And hence why, like you addressed on your Facebook post, any experts in compliance, policy, finance can more than happily contact Human Appeal and address these possible discrepancies based on information and data they asked you to share publicly. So it's not as if this is information that we're getting from a third person or hearsay. No. This is direct from the legal team. So 49. So let's go back now. So Sister Tay, just correct me. It was 49 million, as you can see. And the retention was 7.14. Let's just share that again. Yeah, 7.14. Now, if I go back to your disclosure or disclaimer, it says 56,217,796. Underspend or retain for future use, 0. Direct spend, 83%. Number of employees, 5. So direct spend was 83%.
Yeah.
Right. So if we work it out, if they spent 40, so hold on, where's it gone? There you go. So we worked it out as how much? 60% if you go by the Charity Commission. 63, was it? My maths isn't that great, to be honest, but
yeah, I think it was 68. I can't remember. It's on the where it wasn't what they said anyway. I think it was 68 that we said. But
yeah.
Out from the pie chart. Do you know if you go back to the pie chart?
Let's go to the pie chart. There you go.
Right. So you can see from there the percentage, right? So that's how total expenditure is how much money they spent in total, as according to Charity Commission website.
Yeah.
And then according to Charity Commission website, of all the money that they spent, the 49 mil, that purple section is how much that they spent on charitable activities, which is not 83% or whatever they said it was. It's clearly less than that.
So if I use my best friend ChatGPT, 0154 total expenditure. Sorry, I know it's a bit cliche, but we have to use something, right?
Divided by 49.
Charitable activities spend is
68%. 68% on charitable activities.
Yeah, there
according
you go.
to this pie chart, which Human Appeal is saying is not correct.
Yeah, so there you go.
Misrepresentative.
Okay, now I also need to add my what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to, again, I'm being very, very careful. I want to add my input, okay? And I'm asking questions. This is just integrative. I'm not declaring any position. I'm just asking questions. If we look at the last 2 years and the Gaza genocide and the funds raised between the sector now, I'm speaking in generality. I'm not highlighting any specific charity at the moment. In generality, I would say, and I would ask you, Sister Tay, to agree or disagree. I would even go far as saying from the Western charities, let's even restrict it to the UK, hundreds of millions have been raised for Gaza, right? Hundreds of millions.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No problem. So at least we've got, a foundation, a benchmark. So about hundreds of millions. It could be less, it could be more, give and take. Now, you see videos being shared across social media about them, donate, giving food packs and oil or lentils and whatnot. Now, this is what I like to ask, do we have the right as donors, and we're talking from an angle of Sharia here, do we have a right as donors to ask the wukala, to ask the representatives, how much money individually now, each charity? So I just wanted to put it out there, how many millions have been raised? We say 100 millions. So to each charity now, as we are the donors and you're the representatives of this money, you're not ummal per the Sharia, you're not workers as per the verse in Surah Tawbah. So you've raised this much money. How much have you raised over the 2 years? How much have you spent? How much money have you retained? Not talking about the charity commission. I'm putting that to one side now, right? Leave the charity commission. You'll do your annual declaration. I'm not asking that. I'm asking as an ummah now, as believers, how much money have you raised for the charity, for the Gaza cause? How much have you spent, and etc. etc. I just want to read this out, Sister Tay, and just sort of give me your, how you feel about this particular post. So it said, I'm saying this with sincere concern. If millions have been raised for Gaza, then why are children still starving? Hospitals running dry and families drinking dirty water. We keep hearing that aid is getting through, but all we see is mass graves and desperate mothers burying their babies. The Ummah is generous. We've always given, but somewhere between our donations and the dying children, something is getting lost or worse, stolen. Too many have turned Gaza into a brand, emotional campaigns, no receipts, no transparency. We have to start asking, where's the aid going? Who's really benefiting? Gaza doesn't need more PR. It needs food, medicine, and justice. May Allah expose the lies, protect the sincere, and bring true relief to the oppressed. I mean, how would you view this particular post? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Or is there more to it that you would want to add?
Honestly, do you know, like I said before, that whilst I accept that I am a naive person, my experiences inside Muslim charities and working alongside Muslim charities makes me think that, you know, when you said leave the charity commission to the side, we should be asking them directly.
Yeah.
And for me, I wouldn't believe them, right? I'm sorry to say, and I'm not talking about human appeal because we just talked about human appeal, but I think it is important for us to note that I was surprised that Human Appeal sent their solicitors to me because so many other charities' data is so much worse. Like for some other charities, it was shocking what their figures were. And I trust Charity Commission to get better figures, not necessarily 100% accurate figures, but certainly better figures and more reliable figures than we would get. Do I trust any Muslim charity at this point in time that if I said to them, tell me the figures for this, do I personally trust any of them to give me the correct figures that I could say, Bismillah, yes, this is the truth? No, I don't have that trust in. I feel really awful saying it. I just haven't seen it. You know, it's like having worked in the sector, but then having these conversations again and again and again. There's so many people, like after I posted the correction notice from Human Appeal, so many people contact me and say, I had a similar experience. I also posted about a different Muslim charity who manipulated me and lied to me and again, I think this goes back to, like we said at the beginning, we're very different people, but we take from each other what is good. Yeah. Whereas I had an experience with a different Muslim charity, which I don't know if it's because of our differences or if it's just who they are. Maybe it's my gender. I don't know. But they manipulated and lied to me. So these things have happened again and again. And then people speak to me about their experiences in Muslim charities. I don't think I've ever had, I can't recall Muslims coming to me and saying, I work for this charity and trust me, they're amazing. I'm sure there are people who think that, but I just don't hear it very much. So the trust for me is not there. But then what can we do? We have to donate to people who we think are the best option, even if they're not 100%. You know, we have to just try.
So when you say you don't believe them, Sister Tay, would you then add a caveat that we would need to see documentation as donors? Would that not be the course?
Honestly,
don't present it, but can we ask?
Who writes these documents? They write them. Right? Why would they want to give us the true figures in their documents? How would we know if they're not true? The only thing I think I would sort of say, yeah, I'll take it, is like video recording of them actually giving stuff and doing the actual charitable projects.
But then it
That's
doesn't really
all.
highlight how much they spent, though. That video could, like I'll give you an example just so that we're
Yeah.
we're on the same page. So when I went to Egypt last year in July,
Mm.
I visited many Palestinians, and again, I don't want to still speak about the the Palestinian representatives in Egypt that I met. And when we went to the NGOs, like the ones who are operating on the ground in Egypt, when you compare what, and again, I believe, and I say this without any hesitation, they make margins on these food packs. They make margins and make overheads on these food packs. And when I looked at the comparison, in comparison to Egyptian pounds and the British pounds for a 10 kg, when you see those emergency packs,
Yeah.
Sister Tay, I'm not even exaggerating, probably 200%. So what they're getting it at and what they're promoting on their website, we're talking margin. Again, I'm not, and again, let me add another caveat as well, add a disclaimer. I'm not speaking about the logistics of, delivering and whatnot, because when they advertise food packs or emergency packs, they don't add that. They say this pack, don't they? They make it very, very specific to the pack. They say this emergency pack will cost you this amount. So if you want to be transparent, say, okay, this food pack doesn't cost £50. It's the pack, it's the delivery, it's the transportation, X, 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 Y, 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 Z, Z, Z. But they don't even go as far as that. And that's where I've got the issue now, because me, you, and again, like we said, our core values in this specific issue, we have a common agreement. In other aspects, we've had that discussion, we don't. And there's no shyness for me to say that. And likewise, you don't have that shyness. We disagree on many, many points. But why is it that the charity sector, when me, you, who are, say, on polar opposites on certain, aspects of our worldview, why are they ignoring me and why are they ignoring you?
I think, do you know how you were saying, like, do you know how I said I would believe video evidence and photo evidence, right?
Yeah.
Me by myself, I donate Quran reflection packs. I haven't got a copy here to show you, but I donate these packs to Muslim children in care. And sometimes, sometimes people in the community donate as well, right? But I take pictures of what I'm posting, and I ask the people who are receiving the packs, not the children, the social workers, to send me pictures of them with the packs. That's just me by myself whilst I'm running the fostering agency, running this little side project. So why can a multi-million-pound project not say, guys, you guys have donated X amount. Look at this big pile of food. The value of this pile of food is this. For the logistics to get it there is this. For us to disseminate it is this. Here's a breakdown. Here's the photos. Here's the videos. Thank you very much. Right? And yeah, I think that could, and that I do, you try and excuse them and say, well, maybe they're just not that organized. Maybe the systems are not in place. But I actually think the problems in Muslim charities runs deeper than that. I don't think it's just about logistics or organizing. I think it genuinely, for me, again, not saying any particular charity, but in my opinion, I think there's a lot of people in charities who take a lot of money and they justify it to themselves. I think someone just commented about fundraisers, but I think senior management, I think there's a culture of the majority men, some women on the sidelines, who genuinely believe, do you know what, we are really influential, we've done phenomenal, we've built this charity up to turn over 20 mil, 40 mil, 60 mil, so I deserve X amount, which is undisclosed, because they don't even just take the wage. They have different consultancy roles and they set up different projects that also siphon money off the charity. And I believe that these senior managers genuinely believe they're entitled to that big payout.
And that's following a capitalistic framework, isn't it? Because ultimately, when you're running a charity, the purpose is to seek the pleasure of Allah. That's why you do it, right? You don't use it as a stepping stone, as a career. So influencers, and I think I put that comment up just a moment ago, that influencers, for example, who have massive platforms, when they share a link and they obviously raise money for Gaza or Syria or whatever it may be, they genuinely believe, and I concur with you, they genuinely believe that because of their following and their stature and their reach, they're entitled to that money, not knowing that it's a selfish act. and to the senior managers or to the board directors, when you set up a charity, it shouldn't be a career path that you are, amassing yourself with so much wealth and luxuries because you just feel that, I'm great, I'm amazing, I've raised this much money for charity, so I can, take this much. There needs to be a balance. And like we said, we're not saying don't take a wage. We're not saying that. Again, can't be from the zakat, because there's a certain ruling that it could only, that has to have tamlik, that's to have possession and whatnot. But the influencers, and we discussed obviously about the TikTok influencers, right? The new Gen Z approach, and they are being pushed as well by charities. And I discussed a Canadian charity, Human Concern International, that have an influencer lead. They have a department. Believe it or not, they have a department called the influencer lead that reach out to influencers and saying, okay, do you know what? You could raise money for us. It's a paid collaboration, and out of the funds that are raised on your launch good, you could keep 10%, or you could have a fixed fee. And this is like the sickness of the heart, because how can you, and I'm saying this to any influencer, what conscience can you have when the Gazans are being obliterated, there's a genocide happening, and you are thinking, you know what, I think I'm entitled to 10% of these funds that I've raised. It just shows that there's no sincerity, and it's fake religiosity. And I'm saying this, again, like I said, we're on different polar spectrums, but there is too much of those who believe that I am amazing and I have this religious right that I can take this amount and this, not knowing the purpose is to do for Allah's pleasure and to be humble and modest and sincere. I'd like to ask you one question, Sister Tay, because you worked in the charity sector. Gift aid now. Okay, gift aid. So I did a bit of research myself regarding what is gift aid, where does it come from, how is it paid, and whatnot. So going from the gov.uk website, a gift aid donation is treated as being made after deduction of the basic rate of income tax. So just to highlight that fact, income tax, it's not free money from the government, it's our earnings. So when we pay, or when we get paid, we have income tax. Gift aid is a contribution from our income tax, right? And there's all the conditions here, and I don't want to go into it. So I'd like to ask you, Sister Tay, when you find charities, when they mention, okay, no, you know what, Haji or Sister Tay, we don't pay from the donations, we use gift aid. So when we pay these influencers, this is where it comes from. Do you believe that's ethical, or do you believe that this is just a loophole and a technicality to just, like they say, amass more wealth using that money of ours in order to sort of, extend further donations to their charity, which means more money for them from a business perspective?
I think that there is a lot of organizations, I think the majority are not just using gift aid. I think they are going over and above. Like I said, people should look for themselves. I will redo the charity comparison document at some point in the future. The human appeal figures are actually quite good compared to a lot of other organizations. So I think gift aid should be considered to be its income, and its income from, it doesn't just come from nowhere. From my position in terms of this, and also in terms of how much influencers get, how much the CEOs get, in my mind, I think, fine, pay yourself whatever you think is right to pay yourself, and then tell us how much you're paying the influencers, tell us how much you're paying the CEO, tell us how much you're paying your management staff, because if you believe that what you're doing is correct, why would you hide it? You should be open with it, and then let us come to terms with it. Do I want to donate to a charity where the chief exec is taking more than $1 million a year? Probably not. Right?
Wow.
So
$1 million a year? Have I heard you say that?
Yeah, I believe that happens. Again, I cannot give you the proof or evidence, and I will not name the charity. But do I believe that there are charity leaders who take over $1 million, not in their main wage, but in all their subsidiary consultancy roles and other projects they've set up that are linked to the charity, etc., in their ever so clever way of giving something to the charity, because when they're doing consultancy, they're like, well, I'm doing that job. When they set up a subsidiary company, well, that company's providing a service to the charity. Fine, do it all. Just let us know what you're taking.
Okay, so you believe that there's other means of income that they use?
Oh, I'm sure about that. Yeah, I'm confident about that, just based on, again, having worked in the sector and people telling me, but so many people telling me that it then becomes like, well, obviously that, you know, they're not all sort of imagining this.
Okay, so whilst we're on that imaginary position, and again, I'm saying this with full transparency, you know, we don't have any evidence, but again, it's possible. There was a Facebook post that I was sent, and I'll share it on screen. So I don't know who this individual is, Pedro Carvalho, if I pronounced his name incorrectly, I apologize.
Yeah.
He's put up a post 9 hours ago. So I took this screenshot 9 hours ago, and he mentions, I urge anyone who has worked at Penny Appeal or has had any issues with this charity to contact the Charity Commission and talk to them. Give your evidence. One of the worst organizations that I've ever had dealing with as a PR consultant. And he goes into it. So regularly open second compliant case into international aid charity in 5 years. Now, can I ask you a question? Because I'm not really well versed with the word compliance. What do they mean by compliance?
Again, do you know what? I'm not an expert in the Muslim charity sector either. I think it's really important that whilst you and I have these initial conversations and good intentions and do the best that we can, I think it's really important that we invite the appropriate professionals. So people who are experts in compliance. Muslims, where are you? Come forward. Let's have a conversation. Let's move forward with some work where compliance is, you know, each charity has certain regulations they have to adhere to. The same as in the fostering sector, I have to follow all the fostering regulations. Charities have to follow their regulatory requirements as well. And some charities fall short in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
So it is that. However, in terms of what the regulations are for charities, I don't know. In terms of, I've already said, in terms of the Charity Commission website, what does that data mean? I'm not an expert in that sector. So when someone turns around and says your data's wrong, I'm like, okay, if you say so. But we really need experts to come approach you or I and say, okay, let's get the ball rolling and build on the work that I started with the charity comparison document.
I'll go into like just a brief introductory issues that the charity sector, or should I say the compliance issue that is highlighted. So the Charity Commission has opened its second regulatory compliance case into international aid charity Penny Appeal within 5 years. It goes into in much more detail. I'll share the link once the live is over so people can read it. So it's an issue. It's not to say that me and you are utilizing scaremongering tactics, because people can assume that we're just, you know, we got a witch hunt, which is not. There's serious concerns. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have any evidence. I believe that it's not just that said charity. I believe there is a lot of issues within the sector, and it's only going to come out. And as I said before, anyone, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unaware of what the Zalimun do, what the oppressors do. If anyone is benefiting, profiting from this genocide or any, you know, causes from the ummah for their own selfish, you know, materialistic gains, you will be exposed, whether in this world or in the hereafter. It's only a matter of time. And I've said this before to other charities that I've spoken to, that if you're not forthcoming with this information, then what's going to happen is you're creating. It's not me or you that's creating these doubts. It's you that are putting the microscope and the spotlight on you as a charity, because it's our money. I just don't understand. And maybe you could answer this, Sister Tay. When we donate, it's our money that we're donating, and you're representatives from a Sharia point of view. You're just representatives of that money. Why do they feel that they just don't want to open up and explain, okay, your money was received, there's issues, bear with us, this is what we're planning. It's just like with fundraisers, for example. You find a beautiful event, you know, tens of thousands of pounds raised on the event, so many pledges, and the speaker, and again, that's another issue, I've got invoices for that as well, so I'll release that shortly, that these popular speakers are breaking the bank. But then when you ask and you follow up once the event is over and they've raised so much money, can you just ask, you know, you said you were raising money for this or that or this. What happened with it? Definitely silence. Don't hear nothing.
You know what? Do you know you just shared about Penny Appeal, right? And we've mentioned Human Appeal, but they're just two. If you actually do, and I did share links on the charity comparison document for various charities about the news releases around issues around different charities. Doesn't apply to all the charities, I have to say that as well.
Okay.
There are some Muslim charities where the figures are so strong and there's no negative press around them, that some people have contacted me and said, you know what, Tay, I wasn't actually donating to Muslim charities anymore because I'd lost faith. But when I looked at your document and I saw that there are some charities in there that look really strong, then I decided I'm going to donate to them again. So it's important that people do their research. But when you ask, like, why do these charities not share the information, and why do they not care? Because, like, it goes back to what I said, we can grumble all we want to. As long as there is money going into those charities, why would they care what we think?
Yeah.
Because all they're thinking about is, we want to raise as much money as we can. For some of them, that means that they get a bigger share of the money that's coming in. For some of them, it's just, we want to be the people who say, look how much money we raised. It's an ego thing. But as long as the money's coming in, why would they do anything different, right? If you've got a charity that's bringing in 40 mil, why would you then, because you asked or because I asked, why would you then go out to the public and say, listen, our, chief exec or whatever, the board or whoever it is, we're getting this much, 80 grand as our main wage, but then I also own this subsidiary and I also get this. Why would they do that? That's not going to work in their favor. But they genuinely believe that what they're doing is correct. I honestly believe that, because people believe what they want to believe.
It's
right?
cloaked in fake religiosity. That's what I found. And I'm not saying this just because I'm assuming. I've actually had personal experiences, and it just again, there's a concept in Islam called farasa, like, you just like look at their face, and I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but I could just tell by just looking at them that I just don't feel comfortable. And I always felt this, Sister Tay, ever since I was involved in charity. Obviously, I've got a project with our brother Ayushemi from your neck of the woods in Oldham, and for himself, he went out to Egypt. He went out 10 times. He set up a project called GREAT, Gaza Relief Egypt Alliance Team. It's got 27 families from his own pocket. Obviously, I help and I get funds for him as well. But the ones that who take huge percentages, abusing Quranic verses or even prophetic narrations, and then justifying it to themselves, that's where I take umbrage to that. And it reminds me of one narration. And one man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, there's a man that fights in the cause of Allah, fights in jihad, and he does it for the sake of the world, meaning to get the materialistic gain. And the Prophet ﷺ responded. So in principle, if anyone does something, regardless of what action, for a dunyawi benefit or an earthly benefit, the Prophet ﷺ responded by saying, La ajra lahu. He has no reward. He has no reward. And then they repeated the question 3 times. And the Prophet ﷺ repeated, La ajra lahu. La ajra lahu. He has no ajr in this world. Now that's where, again, this contemporary issue of what you're entitled to or what's deserving, it's a debate that can open. It is very, it's speculative, and we're not saying that there's a market value. You could argue, but if, like one person put here, how can a charity CEO, remember it's an Islamic pillar, zakat is an Islamic pillar, get paid more than a brain surgeon? I'm sorry, that doesn't sit right with me. No. Yes, they should get paid, but to get paid more than a brain surgeon, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take a step back and say this is unacceptable.
I think, from my perspective, it's a case of, if you think you should get paid more than a brain surgeon, fine, but tell me what you're getting paid. Because if I'm donating to you,
sorry, I was gonna laugh this.
That's all right. If I'm donating to you, I want to know that some of my donation is going to get paid towards your 1 mil plus wages, right? I just want to know. Like, if you genuinely think, but then there's other charities where I know that the chief execs won't get paid that much at all. So I'm like, well, and who don't have such a big retained for future use budget, that I don't know what that budget is. And, I believe that it's for us as the community to say, if you don't give me the information, you're not going to get my donations. That's the only way we'll get.
That's the only way. I think boycott's important. And look, I'm not drinking Coke, by the way. I'm drinking the Aldi Coke. I don't know.
We'll give you 70 excuses. We trust.
Yeah, please do. Please. But this is where the issue is now. I'm not having su'adhan. I'm not having a negative opinion. But the issue is too open, and there's so much, issues apparent now. You're hearing in the news every day, aid starvation, aid not getting in. But then you're finding videos, and this is where I have a little bit of an issue with the videos to a certain extent, that you see kitchens. And then when you see these kitchens, you see people getting fed. But that's not the picture, is it? So I'll give you one example, and obviously we're going to bring this to a close soon. This is, I've made contact with some Palestinians on the ground, right? And these Palestinians I've been speaking to for about a couple of weeks now. I've been speaking to other Palestinians, but this one brother sent me this particular video, right? I'm just going to play it.
$10, 30 shekel, $50, $30. This is $100. $100. Can you see? صور السوق. صور.
So he said at the end, "Sawar souk," like meaning take the videos, take a video of the market. So we're talking $100, Sister Tay, for just an aubergine, pack of sugar. I don't know what the thing he was holding, probably some Johnson, cream or something. It was just something. That's $100. Now, Sister Tay, those videos you're seeing from the charity sector saying, "Look at us, look at these kitchens," and you're finding Palestinians on the ground, which I've been speaking to a few now, saying, "What are you talking about? You're saying that there's a full kitchen feeding 3,000. We're getting aubergine for $10. There's other videos, and I'm just trying to find it for you now, where literally oil, like literally just basic. It won't allow me to because it's 24 seconds. It won't allow me to send it. But it's literally he's got it on the floor, and he's got flour, $20, oil, $30. So when we're donating £50, what is it getting? Let's. This is where the issue is. Tell us. If your CEO's on $1 million plus, tell us, because it's our money. You can't be giving yourselves these extortionate salaries and expecting us not to know. And this is where the issue is, isn't it? To be honest, this is where it's getting too much for me to accept that. Unfortunately, this pillar has been abused, and it's been abused to such an extent now that my only I was going back to the Coke. This ain't Coke, but going back to all these brands we're boycotting. I'm sorry. Donate to the UNWRA. Donate to governments that can get aid in due to diplomatic relationship. These NGOs, boycott them. The ones that are not willing to. So do your due diligence, go forward, ask questions. If you're not getting no responses, withhold your money. And Wallah Adim, I've been to Egypt. I've spoken to NGOs. The British charities and the Western charities, Sister Tay, they're a needle in the haystack. Honestly, they're a needle in the haystack. But I think the marketing strategy has been so brilliant. It's as if we withhold and we don't come forward, it's like the Western world have the keys to everything. They're not going to get fed. They're not going to get aid. And you got Islamic charities from Egypt, from Tunisia, from Morocco, from all over the world, Malaysia, that are literally giving aid. Yeah. So
you know what? Do you know how actually I'm thinking there's so many people like Ped, like myself, who've worked in the Muslim charity sector, who have experience in the sector, who are not speaking up and saying, look, this is my experience of this particular charity, because they don't want to get sued, because they don't want letters from their legal teams. But really, as a community, ideally, I think the knowledge is there. The information is there. I still hold out and believe there are some Muslim charities that are doing good work. Again, I'm very naive, but I'm still holding out for that. But we need people to come together, share information with good intention for no financial gain, because I don't make money from the charity comparison document, and that's been going for a few years now. So it's people who are like, I'll give time and I'll share information. We'll work together as a group, so we're less likely to get sued, and let's share good information to the community. I think it could be a really good piece of work, really productive.
There needs to be something similar to that, what you just mentioned, because nothing's going to get done unless we're proactive, right? So Abdullah Hasib, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam, Brother Haji. How are you? Okay?
Sorry about the wait. I just wanted to get our, blow some steam, and we've done that now. So
no worries.
What would you like to discuss, Akhi?
Thank you, Sister Tay, for I suppose all the work you're doing in the Muslim foster sector. I suppose it's very much needed. So I made a comment around. So what you've talked about is, they don't really care, the charities. I suppose why would they care when there's no regulatory body? I suppose why would they care? Like I mentioned about maybe like the MCB. I suppose that's like an institution that you'd think, okay, that's like a national Muslim institution. Should something be coming from them where there's some kind of regulation within this space? Like why else would they care? It's just, I suppose what you've alluded to, it's capitalistic kind of endeavor now for all these people. So then why would they care? I suppose you're raising a voice, individuals can raise a voice, but there's no kind of like where they're collecting the money from. Like they're collecting money from in the massages, like the masses, they're not really seeing this kind of content. So yeah, that's my kind of thinking. Does there need to be some kind of regulation from a higher level, like MCB, or I suppose some scholars where that, or some kind of, yeah, because then otherwise it's just individuals, I suppose, we're kind of ranting, whereas I've kind of contacted them myself in regards to something, but yeah, you get largely radio silence. So yeah, it's just, yeah, how do we kind of get that? How do we work towards that? Otherwise, I suppose individuals we're giving out information, but yeah, was it really going to affect change? Sorry to be negative, but yeah, just kind of that kind of comment, I suppose. Yeah, I'm a bit ranting a bit as well because I've been reaching out to them as well, and yeah, just largely radio silence.
Yeah, Sister Tay, you want to answer that question?
Honestly, and again, I do feel terrible saying this. I have heard very, very good things about the new Secretary General of MCB. However, again, from working in the sector, they're all mates. They all get along with each other. They don't want to upset each other. They don't want to get ostracized. They're going to go to these fundraising dinners and charity dinners and award ceremonies, and they're all going to sit around a table and gupshup, as you would say, and they're all mates. So, we've got the Muslim Charities Forum. So what does the Muslim Charities Forum do? They serve the Muslim charities. They don't, from what I understand, they're not there to serve the community to ensure the Muslim charities are held to account, but they will offer them services that if they want to improve and if they want to work to a good service, they can do. So when it comes to all the Muslim, I mean, in truth, if you came to, say, Sparks Fostering, right? If the success of my agency depended on me being friends with Muslim leaders and Muslim charity leaders, would I speak out against them? Honestly, yes, I probably would, because ultimately, Judgment Day and all that, I have to do the right thing. But how many people are going to do that? How many people are going to risk losing their jobs and connections and be ostracized from the community as well? And have everyone saying, oh, they tried to go against this multi-million pound organization, and many of them. Who's going to do that? I'm doing it. Brother Haji's doing it. But who else? Who else is going to stand up and do it? It's not going to be MCB. No.
It's not rocking the boat, Abdul Hasib. It's like they said. There's incentives. There's relationships that they don't want to break. Financial benefit, maybe. Again, I'm only trying to open up this conversation. You have many regulatory potentially who can make change, who can voice they have the power to voice their concerns, but it's just pin drop silence. So what do we need to do? We're ranting, like Sister Tay said. Do they really care what Brother Haji says and Sister Tay says, or Brother Abdul Hasib? Do they really care? So and again, that's where the taqwa element is, isn't it? Are they God-fearing? If they're not God-fearing, then like I said, la ajra lahu. They got no ajr, and they'll see the disgrace in this world and in the hereafter. I'm certain of it. And I make a dua that anyone that has profited, whether it be influencers, whether it be board directors, CEOs, whoever it may be, who have profited and who have deceptively, usurped the wealth of the ummah for their own luxuries and pleasures, may Allah disgrace you in this world and the hereafter. That's all I can do, right? That's all I can do. I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not getting any additional money. My channel's not monetized. I think I shared something regarding dawah, dawah gandis. I don't know what that meant. Propagandist, probably the dawah gandis, about the masajid fundraising or prayer mats. Then this is why you have a voice, right? Ask them. So can you provide us documentation, because it's our money ultimately. So it is important that all of us get together. Why I teamed up with Sister Tay, and I'm saying it's like a broken record. We have many polar opposite views of how we approach our worldview, but I find it absolutely diabolical that we can't unite on this, where Sister Tay is not benefiting monetarily. I'm not monetarily benefiting. There's potential legal implications that are coming with these, document that Sister Tay updated. What do we do? So it's important information. It's cascaded the way Sister Tay, took time out. We all need to get together. And I honestly say boycott's the only way. Well, it sounds bad, but they don't get richer, and we'll find other alternatives to send money. Like I said, they're a needle in the haystack, akhi. So all of us need to get together I haven't got the funds or the knowledge to open up like an auditing service. I don't. I need professionals to do that. So if professionals are willing to work with me and Sister Tay, we'll have a board meeting. If we have some sort of room we could hire out in a hotel, and we'll create something together. But it needs backing. It can't just be me, you, and Sister Tay just ranting and just letting off some steam. There needs to be action, and action is easier said than done, because potentially there's legal implications. But if we don't do it, then who else is going to do it, right?
And there is the safety in numbers aspect as well, right? When I speak up against any injustice I come across, people will say, oh, you need to expose who it is because you need to let us all know. And I'm like, well, okay, if I get taken to court, who's coming with me?
Yeah.
Right? Who are you going to speak up against? If I tell you, will you be the one to expose them? So it's about, look, none of us want to go up against these big organizations. And, if we do, hypothetically, but it possible, if we have leaders of these organizations taking more money than they should, instead of giving it to people in Gaza, people in Sudan, people in Eritrea, if they are taking that money instead of sending it to where it should go, what would they do to me if I try and take that money off them?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if there's 20 of us speaking up, what will they do? They'll change, because they know there's a group of 20 people who are a group of professionals and charity workers and, very capable people who are working together to ensure that the charities who are doing ethical work are the ones that we promote. It doesn't even have to be about us exposing the unethical ones. We can work strategically to find those charities who will say, do you know what? We'll be open with you. We'll share our accounts with you. We'll tell you all the work that we've done. Come in, have a chat. Then as a group of 20 independent people, we can say, this is where your money should go.
Abdul Hasib, you there?
Cool. Yeah, that really makes sense. Yeah.
And
even with that transparency, sorry to interrupt you, brother. Even with that transparency, to say you've got very small charities that want to provide that level of transparency, will it? I suppose I'm talking from the perspective of the Muslim masses who are donating to these large charities. Yeah, will it still make a difference? Maybe it will. Sorry to be negative, but yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's all you can do, isn't it? So, thanks for that feedback. Yeah, that's useful.
It is a battle, Akhi. Remember, and I bring it back to the noble, prophets who were giving da'wah to their people. Not many of the prophets didn't really get a big traction, didn't they? But they did it for lillah. Like I'm been vocal for 2 years. Tay's been vocal. Many brothers who haven't come forward potentially have been vocal. But like Sister Tay said, if 20 of us get together or 30, and we all raise our voices, and it could be professionals, it could be anyone with different knowledge, different expertise. We all to get together, because ultimately this is, like I said many a times in my video. I don't know how many videos you've watched, Abdul Hasib. I do tend to waffle, but I said the biggest fitna. We have many, tribulations, many problems within the ummah facing the West, but the biggest fitna in terms of the ummah in the West, I find in terms of the deen, is exploitation of the religion. Exploitation. I'm saying this. Many are taking the leaf or taking a leaf from Christian evangelicals that use religion, monetize religion, and are breaking the bank. And I'm saying fake religiosity is the norm. Again, Allah rectify my intentions. I'm not saying that my intentions can't sway. Maybe if I was in that position, I get say la'alla wa asa, that maybe if I was in that position, maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved me. That's why I'm not in that position, that I might get misled or I might fall for the temptation. But that doesn't mean that we as believers now, and again, I'm gonna say this, and Sister Tay won't mind me saying this, whether you're a Orthodox Muslim, or whether you're following a sort of feministic approach, or whatever it may be, or you're a modernist, again, if we come together, and I'm not saying that obviously we can't bump heads, we can, it's not a problem, but we unite on this front, and let's use our skills and tools and knowledge and connections and network to bring about change. Like I said, like Allah, the Prophet says that in Allah ya'id ad-din bi rajulin fajir, that Allah would aid his religion through a transgressive person. It can happen. I'm not saying I'm a transgressor. I'm not saying Taser. I'm not saying you. But I'm saying
I'm transgressive. It's okay.
Yeah, it can happen.
We're all sinners.
I may be one of those transgressive people. Allah Alam, may Allah rectify my affairs. Maybe, I can say you, Tay, but maybe Abdul Hasib. We may be transgressors, but Allah can aid His religion through a transgressive person. So I'm saying we don't need to be perfect. Let's strive for perfection, but it doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't bring about change. I know we're venting, we're angry, we're frustrated, we are at boiling point. But billahi alayk, with the right intention, change can happen. But we have to be the cause. We have to be at the forefront. Again, I'm not saying that these multi-dollar, Fortune 500 companies, which I call charities businesses, Fortune 500 companies, ain't gonna, drop the law on us and potentially threaten us. It can happen, but that all publicity is good publicity. Take me to court. I'll say it publicly. Take me to court. What have I said wrong? I don't think I've said anything wrong, but if I have said anything wrong, take me to court. It just shows that you're doing it to protect your interests, to protect your power, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. That's all I can say.
I'd like to add to that when I started the charity comparison document, I told you it was just literally, I felt inspired to do it. It took me a few hours to do it. Bismillah, will anyone pay attention to it? Probably not, but that's okay, because my intention was good and I tried it. In the fostering sector as well, I think anyone who knows me and the work I do in the fostering sector, I have been banging on about Muslim fostering for many, many years. Would I say it's been massively successful? No. But does it matter? No, because my intention is good. And whether it's successful or not successful, I know I'm blessed as if it was successful. So on Judgment Day, I say I'm sinful. I know I'm sinful. It's okay, right? We're all sinful. We have to be humble with what we do. Yes, I do some good work. But yes, I also have my faults and weaknesses. But Allah is most forgiving. And on Judgment Day, I'll be able to say, but I did the charity comparison document. I tried. I did reach out to the Muslim leaders about fostering. I tried. And I really tried with all my heart and good and pure intentions. And maybe, inshallah, that will be enough. That will be enough for me. I certainly feel blessed doing it. We don't have to be doing good work with I'll do it if I think it's going to be successful. We have to do the good work and accept whatever the outcome is. If it's successful, it's because it's Allah's will. If it's not successful, it's because Allah's will. But we just have to use the skills and knowledge we have and good intention to do the best that we can.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Thank you so much for that, both of you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, don't give up, Akhi. Don't feel deflated. At the end of the day, you'll probably potentially get no supporters. You might get no responses. But remember that the actions are judged by intention. So depends on if you no one's like I said, there's no materialistic benefit for me and Tay. Because people can think, okay, you know what, Haji's probably doing it for a gain, Tay's doing it for a gain, maybe Abdul Hasib's doing it for a gain. There's nothing that I'm gaining out of this. Like I said, my channel's not monetized. I don't get no money. So whether this stream gets 500,000 views or whether it gets 20, there's no difference for me. I do it seeking Allah's pleasure. And we're all sinful. And I say this again and again. Maybe my intentions can change. Maybe I may be doing it for the views and the clicks. But this is why it's important that we have good people around us. Like the Prophet said that the man is on the path of his friend, the religion of his friend. So just keep good company, strive, send the emails, keep pushing. And I'll say one more time, Anbiya, and it's a hadith that says Anbiya that will come, that they won't have nothing, no followers. They had no followers. They gave da'wah, constantly calling to Allah. They get no followers. But did that make them unsuccessful? No. In the eyes of Allah, they were successful. So keep that in mind. The struggle is real, Akhi. Let me tell you, the struggle is real. I've been banging on about this for 2 years. I've had meetings with charities. I've been accused of X, Y, and Z. I've been, my name has been tarnished. I'm doing this for this and that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And ultimately, I will join hands with brothers and sisters from the Ummah who may not share the same views as me, but we have a common goal. And I say that without any hesitation. I'm going to get slack. I know this podcast is going to get some slack, but it's fine. But I know that God willing, inshallah ta'ala, that there will be change. Wallah al-Azim, I'm not even saying this just for me. I'm a motivational speaker right now. I'm saying, Wallah, I'm swearing by Allah, there will be change. And that change, you want to be part of that change, you want to spearhead that change, join us. And we will be more than willing to take this further, send emails, even approach trustees, seek answers. Because all we're doing is asking questions, Brother Abdul Hasim and Sister. I'm asking questions. We're not saying you are doing this or you are perpetrating this. We're saying, just give us some information, follow up, give us some transparency. Is that a crime? No, it's not.
I have to say the document does have some traction. So, you know, if we can build on that and we can ask for further information and then we can share it in that document. And if that document is backed by 20 different people instead of just me on my own, you know, sitting there when I've got a few spare hours trying to put it together, let's give it some real clout and credibility. It will be spread really far and wide.
And I urge professionals to come forward. Like me and Sister Tay said, I am my knowledge of compliance, my knowledge of policy, my knowledge of finances, restricted funds, unrestricted funds. We can read data. I'm good with analytics. I have access to like my data as part of my daily work. I could read that, but then you have to be humble enough to say, you know what, it makes sense, but I'm not a professional. I don't know. So we need professionals to come on board to explain it to us. So then we could follow up to these guys and say, well, hold on here. This is what you've declared, but there's something and policy. And we need professionals. It's good that we all get together, but we also need professionals. Like tie your camel and then put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please, professionals in the sector, in compliance policy, wherever your skills are, come out. And I'm sure, if you spread this far and wide, 1 or 2 or 3 would join. Then thereafter, inshallah ta'ala, however long, 3 or 4 or 5 would join. And then before you know it, we have they'll have to answer us. But right about now, we just got to keep pushing. So it's Maghrib time now. Sister Tay, Allah barik feek. May Allah bless you. May Allah guide us and keep us, our intentions pure. Do you have any final words before we shut up shop?
I would just say again that please, anybody who's watching this, if you feel that you could maybe get involved with the document, just reach out. Let's see how it goes. It might work for you. It might not. Reach out. Let's get a group of people together and let's be representatives for the community and get answers for the community, for the hundreds of millions of pounds that's being spent on charity from the Muslim community.
I mean, let's work together. Let's work hard. Let's keep the momentum. Our brothers and sisters are dying, not just from the Israeli bombs, not from the aid blockade. Soon, disease. It's hundreds of millions. Think about this for a second. Hundreds of millions have been raised in the last 2 years. There is no way that I could accept that in the last 2 years, you've raised so much money and all you're showing me is lentils and in hot water and you're just doing this. And look, your donations are getting spent. And we know, as we just shared here, there you go.
$10, 30 shekel, $50, $30. This is $100.
$100, that's 80 quid. You're trying to tell me when you donate 80 quid, the charities ain't telling you that all it's going to get them is aubergine, sugar, and whatever else was in his hand? Have anyone been transparent enough to tell you that? So ask questions. And I'm saying this one last time. They can't stop us asking questions. They could send whatever notices, whatever legal, representatives they want. Send them our way, and we'll be more than willing to follow up with whatever you want. But you're not going to silence us. Billahi alayk. We're not going to change. And this is prophetic. The Prophet said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyiru biyadihi, fa in lam yastati' fa bilisanihi, fa in lam yastati' fa biqalbihi, wa dhalika ad'afu al-iman." That whoever sees it wrong should change it with his hand. And if you can't do that, change it with your tongue. Don't we have enough voice? Do we have enough courage to speak up against the charity sector? I'm sure all of you do. So do it. What's the worst that can happen? They're going to send you their goons. Bring it forward. And inshallah ta'ala, they will get their due justice. Their due justice sooner rather than later. So I'll end off on that. Just sincerity is of utmost paramount. Keep your intentions pure. It's the ummah we do it for. Not for my ego, not for Sister Tay's ego, not for my popularity, not for Sister Tay's popularity. I'm not even going as far as saying that it's not doable. I'm saying it'll take time. But just bear that in mind. Rome wasn't built overnight, was it, Sister Tay? So that's my final message. So take care of yourselves. Sister Tay, again, Allah barik feek. May Allah bless you and your endeavors with the Sparks Fostering and bring Allah plays barakah in bi'idhnillah al-kareem. So I'll end off now. Take care. Pray Maghrib. Sallallahu ala Nabi Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.